Do you feel like having a kid nowadays is just getting out of control, more expensive, and just harder to manage? We live in a day and age where the cost of having kids is just so outrageously expensive. It's more expensive than your rent, it's more expensive than your mortgage, it's more expensive than your health insurance. And having to balance all those costs is just something that a lot of people would rather not do. And it's kind of frustrating. But guess what? This problem is not just an American problem. Across the world, in Europe, in Asia, in the Caribbean, everyone has this one problem where the cost of having a kid far exceeds anything that they have had to do up until now. And it's not just that the cost of having a kid is becoming more expensive, it's also that things like healthcare and rent are also becoming more expensive. And as a young person in society, you try to wonder, how do you cope with those things? The rising cost of every single thing around you. It's almost unimaginable to think how you're going to cope with it. But let's go back to the childcare topic. In the US, on average, every single month, a family pays 1,200 US dollars every single month just for childcare. If we were, let's say, if we were to compare this to places like Switzerland, for example, you could spend anywhere between 2,000 and 2,500 every single month just on childcare. And this again is still more than a lot of people earn in Switzerland. And you might be wondering now, isn't Switzerland a rich country? Why is this a lot of money for people to pay for childcare? You have to bear in mind, yes, Switzerland people make money, but you have insurance is expensive, renting is expensive, even to breathe the air in Switzerland is expensive. The rising cost of childcare is not just limited to America and Switzerland. Across Europe, in London, in Paris, in Netherlands, childcare has become more expensive. This actually begs the question, is having a kid affordable in today's society? If you're a young adult and you want to start a family, obviously you're going to need somewhere to stay. And then comes the question, do I rent or do I buy? In the US, mortgages have skyrocketed, man. People are paying so much more in the US right now just to have a roof over their heads. And it's kind of crazy. But what about Switzerland? In Switzerland, there's a strict 20% down on every mortgage. So if you live in Switzerland, for example, and you don't have 20%, just know that you will never ever own a house. As a result of this, it is way cheaper to rent, in Switzerland at least, than to buy a house. But what about the neighboring countries in Europe, for example, like Germany or even Austria, where renting is something of a cultural phenomenon for them? They are not spared. In Berlin, since 2010, prices of renting an apartment has doubled. It's the same principle. The more you pay for rent, the less money you have to raise a kid. And we know kids are expensive. So yeah, I'm guessing at the end of the day, what you need to ask yourself is, do I buy or do I rent? If you were to ask me, I would say rent and invest your money into something else. So that way you don't have the pressure of having to invest all your money in a house that who knows what happens in the future. The value goes down, you lose all your money. Who knows? Bubbles burst, that's all I'm saying. So it's up to you really to decide, okay, this is my situation and this is what I'm going to do. But like I said, renting is a way better option than buying a house right now. With all these expenses, childcare, insurance, rent, there's a lot of homelessness going on right now due to mounting debt that they cannot repay. In the US alone, evictions are up, and in LA, homelessness has increased 9% every single year. I don't know about you, but 9% every year is a huge number, and it adds up over time. In Switzerland, it's a bit different. Switzerland is a wealthy country. Everyone knows that Switzerland is a wealthy country, but the poverty cracks are beginning to open. More and more families need emergency shelters. So they're turning to the States now for help. Every major city in Europe is facing a record number of homeless people. If you go to London or you go to Paris, you're just going to see a wave of tents all over the place. It is not all bad news though. Actually, housing prices are stabilizing at the moment. For example, so in the US, the higher interest rates have cooled down bidding wars. So people are no longer fighting to bid. In Switzerland, price growth has slowed down, but affordability remains one of the biggest issues in Switzerland. You know what else is insane? In Europe, for example, if you go to Spain or you go to Italy, Prices are stable, they're actually going down. But the problem is people are not being paid enough money in Spain or Italy to afford a house. So my advice to you is, if you come from outside of Spain or Italy and you have some cash and you want to invest it, then go to Spain and Italy, buy a house. Buy a house there instead. I think the investment would be way, way better. I'm just saying. Take it, believe it, up to you. But that's what I would do if I had cash to just buy a house in Italy or Spain. You know, a lot of times we always get contracts, right? And we just skip through the contracts because we want to sign it and be done with it and know that we have a house, or we have secured a daycare for the kids, or we have secured a rental agreement. Do yourself a favor. Take that contract, put it into applications like ChatGPT, and ask it to explain to you in the easiest language as possible, whether it's English, Spanish, it doesn't matter what it is, whatever you understand in the simplest terms you understand it. And hey, what does this mean? Can you explain to me this contract? What are areas maybe it can be improved? What are areas that I can question and get better terms on? Use it. It's a tool. Use it to your advantage. This is especially true if you live in a country that speaks German or French or Italian and you don't speak the language. There's going to be jargons, legal jargons that you don't understand. Ask ChatGPT. It could be any AI companion that you think is worthy of your time. Just ask, man. It's not going to, if anything, you learn something new. If nothing, then you're all good. Your contract is good and valid. And then you have made a sound decision. If you feel like it was informative, drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the page, and see you guys in the next one.